Good evening and welcome back to another episode of The Longing. Today we are going to be continuing to read the Iliad by Homer. And I do have a little bit of a runny nose, so I do apologise in advance. So let's get going. Now at autumn Eden the Trojan foe discharged his lance, the meditated blow. Stooping he shunned the javelin, idly fled, and hissed innoxious o'er the hero's head. Deep-rooted in the ground the forceful spear in long vibrations spent its fury there. With clashing falchions now the chiefs had closed, but each brave Ajax heard and interposed. Nor longer Hector with his Trojans stood, but left their slain companion in his blood. His arms Automedon divests and cries, "Accept, Patroclus, this mean sacrifice. Thus have I soothed my griefs, and thus have paid, poor as it is, some offering to thy shade." So looks the lion o'er a mangled boar, all grim with rage and horrible with gore. High on the chariot at one bound he sprung, and o'er his seat the bloody trophies hung. And now Minerva from the realms of air descends impetuous and renews the war. For, pleased at length the Grecian arms to aid, the Lord of Thunders sent the blue-eyed maid. As when high Jove, denouncing future woe, o'er the dark clouds extends his purple bow. In sign of tempests from the troubled air, or from the rage of man, destructive war. The drooping cattle dread the impending skies, and from his half-tilled field the labourer flies. In such a form the goddess round her drew a livid cloud, and to the battle flew. Assuming Phoenix's shape on earth she falls, and in his well-known voice to Sparta calls. And lies Achilles' friend, beloved by all, a prey to dogs beneath the Trojan wall. What shame, O Greece, for future times to tell, to thee the greatest in whose cause he fell. O chief, O father, Atreus' son replies, O full of days, by long experience wise. What more desires my soul than here unmoved to guard the body of the man I loved? Ah, would Minerva send me strength to rear this wearied arm and ward the storm of war. But Hector, like the rage of fire we dread, and Jove's own glories blaze around his head. Pleased to be the first of all the powers addressed, she breathes new vigour in her hero's breast, and fills with keen revenge with fell despite, desire of blood and rage and lust of fight. So burns the vengeful hornet soul all o'er, repulsed in vain and thirsty still of gore. Bold son of air and heat on angry wings, untamed, untired, he turns, attacks and stings. Fired with like ardour, fierce Atrides flew, and sent his soul with every lance he threw. There stood a Trojan not unknown to fame, Aetion's son, and Podes was his name. With riches honoured and with courage blessed, by Hector loved his comrade and his guest. Excuse me. Through his broad belt the spear a passage found, and ponderous as he falls his arms resound. Sudden at Hector's side Apollo stood, like Phaenops, Asius' son, appeared the god. Asius the great, who held his wealthy reign in far Abydos by the rolling main. "O Prince," he cried, "O foremost once in fame, what Grecian now shall tremble at thy name? Dost thou at length to Menelaus yield, a chief once thought no terror of the field? Yet singly now the long-disputed prize he bears victorious, while our army flies. By the same arm illustrious Podes bled, the friend of Hector unrevenged is dead. This heard o'er Hector spreads a cloud of woe, rage lifts his lance and drives him on the foe. But now the Eternal shook his sable shield, that shaded eyed and all the subject beneath. subject field. Beneath its ample verge a rolling cloud involved the mount, the thunder roared aloud. The affrighted hills from their foundations nod, and blaze beneath the lightnings of the god. At one regard of his all-seeing eye, the vanquished triumph and the victors fly. Then trembled Greece, the flight Peneleus led, for as the brave Boeotian turned his head to face the foe, Polydamas drew near, and raised his shoulder with a shortened spear. By Hector wounded, Leitus quits the plain, pierced through the wrist, and raging with the pain, grasps his once formidable lance in vain. As Hector followed, Idomen addressed the flaming javelin to his manly breast. The brittle point before his corslet yields, exulting Troy with clamour fills the fields. High on his chariots the Cretans stood, the son of Priam whirled the massive wood, but erring from its aim the impetuous spear struck to the dust the squire and charioteer of martial Merion, Coeranus his name, who left fair Lyctus for the fields of fame. On foot bold Merion fought, and now laid low, had graced the triumphs of his Trojan foe. But the brave squire the ready coursers brought, and with his life his master's safety bought. Between his cheek and ear the weapon went, the teeth it shattered and the tongue it rent. Prone from the seat he tumbles to the plain, his dying hand forgets the falling rain. This Merion reaches, bending from the car, and urges to desert the hopeless war. Idomeneus consents, the lash applies, and the swift chariot to the navy flies. Not Ajax less the will of heaven descried, and conquest shifting to the Trojan side, turned by the hand of Jove, then thus begun, to Atreus' seed the godlike Telamon. Alas, who sees not Jove's almighty hand transfers the glory to the Trojan band. Whether the weak or strong discharge the dart, he guides each arrow to a Grecian heart. Not so our spears incessant though they rain, he suffers every lance to fall in vain. Deserted of the god, yet let us try what human strength and prudence can supply. If yet this honoured course in triumph borne may glad the fleets that hope not our return, who tremble yet scarce rescued from their fates, and still hear Hector thundering at their gates. Some hero too must be dispatched to bear the mournful passage to Pelides' ear, for sure he knows not, distant on the shore, his friend, his loved Patroclus, is no more. But such a chief I spy not through the host, the men, the steeds, the armies, all are lost. In general darkness, Lord of earth and air, O King, O Father, hear my humble prayer. Dispel this cloud, the light of heaven restore, give me to see, and Ajax asks no more. If Greece must perish, we thy will obey, but let us perish in the face of day. With tears the hero spoke, and at his prayer the god relenting cleared the clouded air. Forth burst the sun with all-enlightening ray, the blaze of armour flashed against the day. Now, Atrides, cast around thy sight, if yet Antilochus survives the fight. Let him to great Achilles' ear convey the fatal news. Atrides hastes away. So turns the lion from the nightly fold, though high in courage and with hunger bold, long galled by herdsmen and long vexed by hounds, stiff with fatigue and fretted sore with wounds. The darts fly round him from 100 hands, and the red terrors of the blazing brands. Till late reluctant at the dawn of day, sour he departs and quits the untasted prey. So moved Atrides from his dangerous place, with weary limbs but with unwilling pace. The foe he feared might yet Patroclus gain, and much admonished, much adjured his train. And with that, we come to the end of the episode, and we should be able to finish the book tomorrow. So, for now, thank you very much for joining me today. I hope you all have a wonderful morning, evening, afternoon, or night, no matter what time of day it is. I hope you all have a wonderful one of it. And as always, we will be back tomorrow for more of The Longing. Goodbye.